Hello everyone, this is Believer, and welcome to the first of most likely quite a few showcases of recent DLC for Payday 2. Consider this a post-playthrough, since all of the recording for the Payday 2 playthrough has already been done. Now I just need to edit them. So okay, this is the Butcher's Western Weapon Pack, the third weapon shipment from our latest contractor, the Butcher. As the title suggests, the weapon pack is themed around the Wild Wild West. 4 new weapons, 4 new melee weapons, 4 new masks, 4 new patterns, 4 new materials, 4 new achievements. Well, I haven't unlocked every pattern or material yet, so I do not have any comments on those. But that's not what you're here for. It's primarily the weapons. We were introduced to this DLC with a decent animated trailer pitting Dallas against a cloaker in a Mexican standoff. Right off the bat, we knew we would get a revolver, and I think we're all pretty grateful for it, because we only had one so far, the Bronco .44. In the end of the trailer, it was revealed that the pack would feature dynamite, bow and arrow, and some kind of rifle as well. And I'll be honest here, many people seemed to be excited about the rifle. I didn't know anything about it, nor why I should be excited. I thought it was a shotgun. Before I move on to the weapons, I just want to show my appreciation that we got to see Bobblehead Bob again, who seemed to have recovered from his injuries completely, and we also got a little nod to the music composer of the game, Simon Wicklund, with a shop with his name on in the background. Anyway, weapons. I'll start off with the one that is the least different from what we already have available, the Repeater. A sniper rifle, but with room for 5 shells in its chamber. I had a good time using this rifle over some of the other rifles. I never got in a situation where I was vulnerable because I had emptied my rifle. Now, not just because of the chamber, but also because you reload 1 shell at a time relatively fast. There's a whole lot more time to reload in between the shooting now. It's also powerful enough to pierce shields and kill most units in 1 hit. Only the bulldozer requires more than 1 hit in the head. So this rifle definitely gets my seal of approval. Next up is the Peacemaker revolver. And oh boy, this beloved gun is probably the one that people were most excited for, partly because of the animation. Unlike the Bronco .44, this gun is a single action revolver, meaning that the user needs to cock the hammer before he or she can fire it, just like you see in the old Wild West movies. A lot of people were hoping to see akimbo Peacemakers, which sadly isn't a reality. But that might be because it would be too underpowered since it requires both hands for the best performance. So you have to do your gunslinging with just a single one. And let me tell you, gunslinging is exactly the word I'd associate with this weapon. Just look at the weapon changing animation. It's amazing. It's really strong, it's pretty good for hip shooting, fun to use. Only drawback of this revolver is the slow reload, which is also a bullet at a time. So you gotta make those shots count. All in all, a gun I will use a lot when specialized in pistols. A lot of people were wondering in what way the dynamite would be different from the standard grenades. But the thing is, at least from my first impressions, I don't see a difference. You throw it, it blows up. Maybe it doesn't bounce as much as the grenades, and I just haven't had the opportunity to test that. In either way, it looks a bit more interesting than grenades, but that's the only real praise I have for it. Moving on. Okay, so this one seems to split the Payday community in half. Well, it was already split in half, but whatever. The bow and arrow. People either go, yeah, now I can pretend I'm as cool as Rambo, or nah, it doesn't fit the universe. Okay, but robbing banks with RPGs, flamethrowers, grenade launchers, and miniguns is a-okay, I guess. Whatever, let's do this. The bow and arrow has one modification: explosive arrows. The good thing about explosive arrows is that they can deal area of effect damage, and it's decent damage too. Shields get one-shotted, for instance. The good thing about regular arrows is that they are silent, as well as you can pick them up to be used again, and you'll find you won't run out of arrows as fast. In either case, since the cop don't carry arrows, gee, I wonder why, the only way to get more arrows is by collecting them from ammo bags. Now here's a fun little fact, and I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but despite explosive arrows not being reusable, you can still pick up irregular arrows from other players, and it will count as collecting explosive arrows. Overall, it's great to have a new weapon that works so differently from all the other guns, but it's also considerably hard to use, as it requires perfect aim if you want to do overkill or above. Remember that you cannot rapid fire the arrows. You need to charge the shots. I think people who wants to get really good with it will need the run and gun skill. The concealment on the bow is pretty good, but I will probably need to use it more often to get a better sense of its value in stealth. Lastly, you get 4 new masks, 2 of which I find interesting. One being the disguise Dallas used in the trailer, very ideal if you want to cosplay a Wild West robber, and the other merely being a mask covering the eyes. I don't know why, it's obviously a thief's mask, but I get a superhero vibe from it. We also get 4 melee weapons. The knife, the Arkansas toothpicker, is probably the best knife available considering its relatively high concealment. The fire-heated iron has a nice design to it, but other than that, I can't see myself use the other 3 very often. A bit awkward to have a second tomahawk in the game, but if you want to pretend you are Wild West Native American, there you go. So, final thoughts. This weapon pack is decent enough. There isn't any weapon that I would say I dislike per se, and there's even more than one mask that I care about. This DLC is best suited for the experienced players who want some variety in their game, and it's definitely not for newcomers who still has a lot to explore in the game. Alright, that's all I had to say about this DLC. Make sure to check out my Payday 2 playthrough if you want my thoughts on stuff like the DLC practice in general and whatnot. Bye bye for now.